Yeah. Welcome to the Brotherhood of Kings Saturday night, Sunday night, Sunday night crew. Bless up, man. We got your boys Paul, we got Coach Michael Taylor here, and we got a real quick discussion on discipline and rigor. So, Coach, first of all, man, how you doing, bro? How's the week, man?
Man, week was great. Getting through the holiday Thanksgiving thing was awesome. Had my granddaughter's fourth birthday party today, which was amazing. Just watching her grow. She's a piece of
Wow.
work, let me tell you. But just watching the family grow, that's always a good thing. Having that connection with family and watching my son being a great dad just really makes me proud. Watching my son, how he takes care of his kids. And yeah, I feel real good about that. Like I said, I don't claim to be the best dad ever, but I love being a dad. And really, really proud of watching my kids and watching him be a great dad. So with that, I'm good, man. Really good.
Nice. Yeah, I could tell when you were talking about it. I could tell you there was a calm and peace about you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Inner peace, baby. Inner peace.
Was it like I know a lot I know your background, man. Was that like you being a dad? Um it wasn't always easy though, I'm assuming, right? Because I know you went through divorce and things like this.
Dude, man, I tell you, I've had some ups and downs, man. I tell you, because I had become homeless for a while, and yet I was still obligated to pay child support, which I didn't have a job, so how am I gonna pay child support? So at one point, man, I was close to $50,000 in arrears at one point, man. It was tough, but I kept my commitment to handling that, doing what I could. It took me a few years, man, but I got back on track, paid it all off completely. Just really, and it was never, for me, it was never an issue of wanting to pay. It's just I couldn't pay. I just didn't have money, right? But just it was part of the process, man. And like I said, as I look back in retrospect, man, those times when I was homeless and in that dark place, I can now see how it was absolutely perfect for me in growing to the man that I became today.
I'm breathing that in for a moment, man, because like a lot of what you said is like what I'm working through right now, like the arrears and no passport and moving through that space of like what that looks like and how I'm moving past and into resolving all that.
Yeah, man.
And huh?
Nothing better than having that last child support payment go through.
Brother. Listen, I still got a long ways to go, bruv. I still got a good amount of ways. I got at least 12 more years, man, before I'm making that last payment. And I'm relating to what you're saying about like wanting to pay, but was unable to for a lot of years, man. So bless up to you and what's resulted from you staying in the game, being disciplined, which is actually like right in alignment with what we're going to talk about this today. So bless up to you, Coach, man. Bless up to your son and your grandchildren and the ability to be like, I put the work in, man. You all can go home.
Yeah.
You all can get your behinds out of my house, and thanks for coming. Love you all. Peace. Peace.
I tell you what, man, there's no better feeling to, first of all, have a great relationship with your kids, but then as you watch them grow, and then you have your son, for example. Here's a great story. So my son was 35, I guess, maybe. And so he comes to where I was working, and I get off at 6. So I walk out there, and I didn't know he was coming, and he was coming for my birthday. Okay. So he's outside in the parking lot. I see him, obviously excited. What's up? Come on, Papa, I'm taking you out to eat. So he takes me to this really swanky restaurant, right? We're sitting there, and I'm flipping through the menu. He puts his hand on the menu. He said, "Dad, don't look at the price. Get what you want." Man, I was like, okay, all right. So I got what I wanted. I didn't go overboard, but it's just a really good feeling when your kids can now give back, and they want to give back. They want
They
to
want to
do
give back.
those things for you because of what you've done for them. So
Mm.
that's an awesome feeling.
Bruh, that's gotta be a great feeling, man. That's got to be a great feeling. I can only imagine, man. I can only imagine. And
Yeah.
bless up to you. Oh man, dude, man, what? Oh God, man. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm just like thinking about what that would be like to have my sons say that type of thing to me, man. Like what? Yeah, you know what? Thanks, man. Thanks, son. Because I would want to look at the menu too. Like I don't want. He's treating me. I don't want to break his bank and shit. Yeah, I'll get it. I get the half chicken. You know, but like, oh, I get what I want. You know what? You get that prime rib. You got what's the sides? Asparagus? Yeah, let me get that too. Side salad.
And we were at a steakhouse.
Oh, oh, bruh.
And actually,
Woo.
it's one of the more expensive steakhouses in Houston, Texas, as a matter of fact.
Well,
And he said, "Pop,
dude.
I want to take you to have." He said, "I want you to have a steak because he know I love some steak." He said, "I'm gonna take you to have some steak. Let's go do this steak." So I did the steak thing. It was great.
That's what's up, coach. That's what's up. Oh man, dude. Listen, you know what, bro? You have had, man, listen, I appreciate you and like everything you have done to get to where you are. And you know, bro, I'm really excited to have this conversation with you about discipline and rigor. I just want to give you some context about how this came up, right? So, like you and I have known each other for some years, and you know, like this year, I really focused on like beginning to couple main things, like really focus on like getting a better handle on my finances and my financial discipline. Knowing when to ask for support and help, and then also getting a good handle on my healing around relationships and heart and things like this, and heart specifically around my blood pressure because my blood pressure starting in the year was a little bit high, and now it's like I've been able to manage it with discipline. The question that I have for you, well, actually, coming back to the financial piece, how this all came up. So I was looking at my finances. I was doing the books the other day, and I was like, okay, like cool, some stuff is coming through. Okay, cool. Now I'm like looking at what's owed, and I'm looking at like what the bills are, what the responsibilities are. I'm noticing like okay, like there's some extra money here. Okay, this is good. Then I'm looking at okay, what's owed. Then I'm also looking at what's coming up because I noticed that I had a tendency to be like, oh well, okay, look, this is what I got. I'm gonna put everything on black, right? Like what's here right now? Like let me just pay. And what would happen is I would end up being in a financial lurch later on in the road, like whether it be like a week later or 2 weeks later. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just look at this really quick and let me. What's the best? What's the most um what's the word I was thinking of? But like what was the most responsible and disciplined thing to do right now? So I was like looking at what's my intention, like especially for my finances. Like, okay, it's to get better credit, to pay down my debt, all these things. Cool. So I noticed I made some different choices in how I managed my finances. Like, okay, like cool, I'm getting paid this week, so this more comes in, so then I can pay this, and I'll have money for this coming up for this electric bill, what have you, all this stuff, right? And I noticed, I said, damn, man, I was very proud of myself because I noticed that it took me time to build a certain discipline. And I'm still working on it. I want you to think like, oh my God, I'm Robert Kiyosaki over here now. I just want to recognize like, okay, there's a discipline that it took for me to get there. And then there was a certain amount of rigor that I had to exercise with myself. First of all, to even get to that point where I have a little extra cash. How I got to that point was I had to have rigor in regards to where I was spending my money in regards to food. Like I noticed, like rather than like going to the supermarket, I was like, okay, this is a fast food. I'll get this fast food. It's fine. It's cheap and what have you. The rigor was like, okay, listen, I'm setting aside some time to say, okay, I'm gonna go get this meal or go to the not meal, but go to the supermarket, get my food, get my coffee, so I'm not paying and doing all that stuff. So this is how this all came about. And then I started to recognize, I said, well, damn, is there a difference between discipline and rigor? Okay. So I want to present this to you first, like, and we're gonna break it down. And for people that are watching it and like people that are watching the replay, I want you to think about, first of all, when you hear the word discipline, what comes to mind for you, or what does it mean to you? So, Coach, I'm just gonna check in with you. Like, what does it mean? What does discipline mean to you, man?
That's a good one. For me, I believe discipline comes with commitment. And here's what I mean by that. I did a workshop once called LifeSpring, 3-day transformational workshop.
Oh, I've done something like that. Yeah.
Really powerful, really powerful. And what I got out of that workshop was that the only thing that matters is what I'm committed to. Now you got to think about this. So I learned the power of commitment. And one of the things we did, and it was a unique challenge in this workshop that I'm not sure if I'm supposed to divulge this information, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway. So here was the challenge. So I'm in this workshop, and we had a challenge that we had to go out into the world somewhere, and we had to get 10 people to do something. Okay, now you gotta think about this. So here's the challenge. Your challenge is to go out into the world and get 10 people to do something. Okay, now that sounds kind of vague, but the challenge for me was to stand in my power and to be courageous enough to do something way outside of my comfort zone. So when they gave us the challenge, they didn't tell you where to go, what to do. They just said you have to get 10 people to do something. So,
anything. It could be anything.
Yeah, just get 10 people to do something. And so I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's kind of crazy. And then I had this idea. I said, I know, because we were downtown Houston and there was a bus station not too far from where we were. And I said, the bus station is going to have a lot of people there. And I bet you, I wonder if I can get 10 people to do something. And so what I did was I go to this bus station and there's 40, 50 people, different places. And I stand in the middle of this bus station and I say, listen, I have a challenge that I need your help with. Okay. I stood up on this little seat. I said, I have a challenge that I need your help with. And I said, I know this is going to sound crazy, but here's what I need. I need 10 people to do something with me. And here's what I like to do. It's really simple. I am going to walk around this section, and all you have to do is follow me. I need 10 people to follow me around in this room, in this lobby. And some people were laughing. Some people looking at me like I was crazy. But guess what? 15 people got in line and followed me around this lobby. And after I did that, I went, shit, if I'm committed to something, there's nothing that can stop me. And so the 15 people, I was high-fiving them and thanking them, for doing it. But most importantly, I had the courage to stand up in front of all these people. I didn't know any of them. They didn't know me. But I just, because of my commitment to doing the exercise, I put aside all of my fears, all of the thoughts of, oh, no, what are you doing? People going to think you're great, blah, blah. But I was just committed to completing the task. Now, that lesson taught me that whatever I'm committed to, if I'm truly committed, nothing can stop me but me.
Mm.
And so when it comes to discipline, for me, discipline is the result of commitment. Because when I'm committed, when I'm truly committed, then I have the discipline to fulfill that commitment. But I have to have the commitment first before I can gain a discipline. Because if I don't have the commitment, I'm going to make excuses. I could have said, man, I ain't going in front of all these people doing, I could have had all these excuses, but it was my commitment to completing the task that gave me the discipline to go and stand in front of people I didn't know in a big public setting like that. And it took the rigor of saying, yes, I can do this. Follow me. And man, I tell you, that one exercise, because most of the people in that workshop, I think there were like 30 people in the workshop. Only 3 of us completed the task.
I believe that, man. I believe that. I did something called gratitude down in North Carolina, which I think was the same. It's like how I learned about our mutual friend Ray. How I heard about him. Like I think
Ray Blanchard.
Yep.
Yeah, and Ray Blanchard was one of the trainers of LifeSpring, the program I'm talking about.
Yeah. Because I think yes. Okay, yeah. Because gratitude is very similar to LifeSpring. A lot of those trainers from LifeSpring were in gratitude as well.
Yeah.
And listen, I gotta tell you, that's a great example of discipline. And I like how you tied into commitment because yeah, man. And I agree with what you're saying about commitment being the first thing that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking about my discipline, not beyond the finances. I'm thinking about my discipline specifically for being active. And I take a 5 o'clock class on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, right? 5 o'clock a.m. And I can't stand getting up early. I mean, I like it, and no, I don't like it. I'm not. No, I'm like, listen, and I'm talking early, like getting up for a 5 o'clock class. I'm really getting up at 4:15, 4:20, right? Because I'm stumbling, bumbling around. I like to wake up and have some gratitude and like just sitting with myself. I'm brushing my teeth in the dark, and then I'm warming up my car. So I gotta warm up by a certain time and leave my house by a certain time. We have yet to develop teleporting, so it's not like I can snap my fingers and get there. But when it comes to like me being disciplined to go to the class, I had to recognize, especially in light of what you're saying, I'm committed to my health and living. I'm committed to that. Like, and part of me being committed to that is addressing my blood pressure issues, which requires me to be active in doing my cardio, getting my strength training. Because I want to be active and mobile when I'm in my 90s and 100s. So I want to make sure I take care of my muscles and my joints. So that's a big thing about being disciplined. It's about any kind of activity. Well, the commitment, I feel what you're saying, the commitment is going to drive the discipline. The actual definition of discipline is activity or experience that provides mental or physical training. As coach, you were talking about, this was a mental exercise for you because you had to go past your mental capacity of saying, what the heck am I doing here asking these people to do this thing? And I'm going to do it still, right? I'm still going to get it done, right? And when it comes to rigor is the quality of being extremely thorough, exhaustive, or accurate. Listen, you were thorough and be like, I'm going to get this thing done. And was it listen, your thorough was to complete the task.
Right.
Complete the task. And what it was like, look, they didn't say anything specific. So I'm going to have these people follow me around for I don't know how long. Just follow me around in this thing and I'm going to get it done. Listen, well, let me ask you now, coach, man. Do you think men of color have discipline and rigor overall?
Collectively, I'll say the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's been missing for us collectively is taking it to the next level.
What do you give me an example?
And what I mean by that is being willing to go deep within who we are as human beings. Okay? So let's put it. Let me put this in a spiritual context.
Okay.
So for me, again, this is Michael Taylor. For me, the foundation of my life is spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
I see myself as a spiritual being having a human experience versus a human being having a spiritual experience. So at the core, the essence of who I am, I believe, is spirit.
Yeah.
I believe that when we tap into that part of ourselves, and this has nothing to do with organized religion, but when we tap into that spiritual aspect of who we are, we connect to the divine. Mm-hmm. Okay? When we connect to the divine, it becomes the source of desire. Okay, so hear me out. Mm-hmm. A desire is what activates the vision, which then activates the commitment, and then comes the discipline to fulfill it. A lot of us haven't done the inner work to get to the source, which is driving the desire. For example.
So a source, desire, then discipline.
Yep. Well, source, desire, discipline / action.
Okay. Talk to me, coach. Okay.
So source is, to me, that part of us that activates the desire for something. So if I want to be a billionaire, which I plan to be, the question becomes, where does the desire or the idea to be a billionaire come from?
Okay.
Okay. So for me, it comes from source. It comes from that spiritual part of me, because ideas are the currency of the universe. Ideas are how the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, gets us to do things. Mm-hmm. So a divine idea is a desire that comes from source. So again, I have this vision of becoming a billionaire. Where did it come from? I say, source says, Mike, look, I need you to do something. I'm going to plant this desire in you. Okay, I got it. I got this desire to be an entrepreneur. So that desire lights up in me. I start pursuing this vision of being an entrepreneur, billionaire. Okay. So now I had the desire, which started with source. The desire hit the thought, billionaire, activated in me the discipline to start moving towards that desire. So if I can acknowledge the source, which in my opinion, source is infinite. I'm sure you've heard the term, if you can see it and believe it, you can attain it.
Yeah.
Okay. So seeing is believing, believing is seeing, whatever. But again, I think it starts, and when I'm getting back to what I was saying about us as Black men and discipline, most of us haven't done the work to get to that point where we know the source of the desire, which will then give us the drive and the discipline to accomplish that which the source wants to accomplish through us. So everything that I do based on that idea. Source activates a desire in me. Once that I have the idea, now I have the vision Now I have to have the discipline, and that's where the discipline comes in with the action. So, for example, imagine I'm homeless. I'm in the back seat of my car because that's where I live. Everything I own is in this car. Okay. And yet I'm sleeping in the back seat of this car. And I have these little yellow sticky notes. And I would write these ideas, these visions on the sticky notes, and I would stick it on the back seat. And as I'm sleeping in this car in the wintertime, cold, hungry, and yet I would put little sticky notes saying, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be a best-selling author. I'm going to make $1 billion. Now, how much sense, how realistic was that? Young black kid in America with only an 11th grade education, sitting in the back seat of a car because that's all he owns, and he's talking about being a billionaire? Makes no sense. That's about as irrational as it might look.
Well, so hold on. So based on what you're saying, though, it may be irrational to someone outside.
Boom.
Yet for you, though, that junk is real.
And why is that? It's because source is the source of the divine idea that only I can see.
Right. So bless up. So this brings something here which is like where I wanted to get to with this, especially for men of color, right? And you brought the source into it, which I think is important, and then the desire / vision. Because like first you said desire, but from what I'm hearing you say, it's like that desire and vision. Like, okay, like source brought this insight, this idea into me. I desire it. I see it. Right? This is coming from source. Now it's like I get to be in action to get to where that is. So that's where you start. Like every year you're writing a book. You're doing your speaking engagements. You have your entrepreneurial endeavors, right? You have you have your career where it's like you're building something there which is complementing and also supporting or has something else that's building while you're building your entrepreneurial endeavors. So what I see in this, right? And this is why I think discipline is more than saying, okay, I'm going to do something a certain amount of times and I'm going to be disciplined to get this done. It comes from something bigger than self, right? Yeah. Because and this is what came to me when I was doing the finances, because I'm like, I really made the decision. Like I see myself on land, right? With these tiny houses, a dog, a couple of shotguns, and some vegetables growing off in the land, where it's like, okay, this is like my reset center. Okay, this is where I have my land. I come back here. Yeah, I still got a place in Jersey, but it's like I see this in here. So when I got to that point, coach, when I was like, okay, let's look at my finances. Where's my credit? What do I got to do to build that? What's coming up next? Like, okay, like, hey, what gets to get paid off before the end of the year? So I'm starting off on a clean slate. These are all these things that like now I'm tightening up my game, because like I know in the end game, like these are the actions I get to do now to help get me there. Right. And then there's discipline there, because it's like, okay, I gotta be disciplined. Like, yeah, you know what? Like I Wendy's fries sure do taste good. And I can make some really good fries in the air fryer. I'm going to take the extra 15 minutes and do that rather than take the easy route and drive to Wendy's and get my French fries, right? There's something bigger in the vision. And this comes to coach, like this comes to something even bigger, man, because like I look at this as like when it comes to discipline and rigor, and I think you really kicked it off. What is that based on? Right? Because if there's no desire or there's no source of, well, okay, well, why are you doing what you do? It's like when people work out, like, bro, you stay in shape, right? You stay in shape. What's the reason you stay in shape?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to live to be 100 with no cane, no medication.
That's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. So
That's what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a vision. Like, look, I can almost guarantee Coach sees when Coach closes his eyes and he talks about I'm gonna live to 100 without any canes or anything. I can see Coach. I know Coach when he closes his eyes, he sees himself at 100, big ass smile on his face, walking around, still got pipes in the gun shows right here, okay? And he's hanging out with his grandchildren. They're taking him to a steakhouse, him and his son. Okay. So like, I know, like knowing you, I know this is like your vision is so crystal clear that if there's ever a time when you're like, yeah, I really don't feel like working out, you're going to work out.
Absolutely.
Right. And this is like, I want to bring this to more men of color because hey, I heard you say, like, listen, and people that are watching, bless up, thank you for watching. The question that we have right now is what is discipline, right? What is discipline and what's rigor? So you can type, like, if you're watching this and you see this, type in the chat, what's discipline and rigor for you, right? What does that mean for you? So, Coach, coming back to this, like, I think it's important, and this is what I really love about what we do at the Brotherhood of Kings. I think it's important that we start supporting more men of color to tap into what's true for them. What is their vision? What's the source of their vision? Why? What's the reason you want to do? What's the reason this vision is important to you? Because I think I think how we're presenting, how discipline is presented is almost backwards. It's like, okay, well, you got to be disciplined and, you got to go hit the gym 5 days a week so you can be healthy. First of all, what does it mean to be healthy? Or like, hey, you got to make sure you balance your books and pay off your credit and blah, 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 so you can freaking or pay off your credit cards so you have good credit. What's the reason though? Right? Like and I think it's culturally too though, Coach, because we get sold a bill of goods that like, hey, you know what? You need to have this. What's the reason though?
But Paul, see, that goes back to the point I was making at the beginning about collectively as Black men, where we need to shift.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the question I would ask the audience, do you have a vision?
Let's ask.
Because I think the most important question, or at least one of the most important questions we can ever ask ourselves is, well, what do I want?
Oh, bruh.
What do I want? Now, a lot of people will say, I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. I want to have good health. And those are wants. But see, I think there's a distinction to be made between a want and a desire. There's a difference. Because again, I think, people say, I want to win $1 million. I want to win a lot. I want. And that's fine. We all want stuff.
Right.
But I believe a desire doesn't come from anything outside of you. A true heart's desire is part of your divine purpose. A true heart's desire is something that you showed up with. It's encoded in your DNA, and it's your responsibility to figure out what the heck that is. And when you do the inner work that we talk about all the time, and we heal our hearts and deal with our stuff and remove all the baggage, then we touch our heart space. Then we find our heart's desire. And that heart's desire is what Source wants to manifest through you. Because Source, God, if you want to use that word, needs you to manifest its desire in this realm, in this reality. So when we have these divine ideas, I mentioned earlier that ideas are the currency of the universe. So when Source gives us an idea, it's simply saying, look, Mike, I need you to do this for me. I'm going to do it through you. So when you have this vision of all these little cottages and your space where you can do your healing retreats or whatever you want to do in your farm or whatever. See, that's a desire that source wants to manifest through you. Now, the question becomes, what are you willing to do to work hand in hand to bring that into manifestation? Now, a part of us will completely reject the ideas, the divine ideas that the universe sends us, because our ego will convince us out of it. Our ego will say, man, dude, who are you to think you can become a billionaire? Man, you ain't even got a college degree. You know, so our ego will convince us that it's not possible. But every religion basically teaches that we all have access to the divine. And when we tap into the divine, we can perform miracles.
True.
So what is a miracle? A miracle is simply a shift in perception from what our ego mind sees and what our heart sees. And so a miracle is, first of all, I have this vision, this idea, this divine heart's desire that's wanting to be birthed through me. For example, when you wrote your book, think about it. It was an idea. And when you had the idea, you started thinking about it. And then ideas started coming in about the book.
Right.
But then as you did that, what happened? The universe started supporting you in the manifestation of that book. And how did it do that? It put you in touch with this guy named Michael Taylor, who knows how to publish books.
Right.
Do you think that's an accident?
Nope.
No. So Source is using you to do its work. And so you wrote this book. The intention of the book was to empower Black men and men around the world, actually, just men in general. But notice how you had an idea, a vision, but then you had the discipline to write the book,
right,
to figure out how to get it published. And I guarantee you, it didn't look the way you probably thought it was going to look. But look,
nope.
But look how it ended up.
Yeah, brother. Yes.
So my point, Paul, is for us as Black men to be willing to learn to listen to and trust Source, to be willing to visualize that which we want to desire. And so if you've never done a vision board, here's your perfect opportunity to learn how to visualize. Because it sets in motion Source in you. When you start putting up those things on your vision board that you want to accomplish, it's the universe's way of saying, okay, that's what I want to create. That's what I want to create. Now let's make it happen. Now, do you have the discipline to make it happen? And that's what we're talking about today. How do we have the discipline to manifest those divine ideas, those visions that come from Source?
Right. Damn, man. All right, you oh man, you had a lot there. Shoot. First thing I'm processing really is there's a distinction between a want and a desire.
Yes.
It's like what I'm hearing you say is the want is more from me singularly as a person. Like, hey, I want this is the probably maybe a horrible example. Hey, I want a brownie a la mode. Okay. That's a me want to satisfy something in me. What I hear you say is a desire is Source or divine driven, inspired. Because once I have a desire for something, or I also heard you use the word longing. I like the word longing too. a longing for something. This is coming from something bigger than myself. It's like an expression of source that gets carried out through me. Am I hearing you right?
Mm-hmm. And here's another way to think about it.
Yeah.
In most cases, well, first of all, as you're listening to this, when I say the difference between a want and a desire, don't go good and bad. There's nothing wrong with wanting things.
No, of course not. Yeah, great point. Great point. Great point.
Don't hear that. So, guys, as you're watching, don't hear that. I'm not saying don't want stuff. What I'm saying is, here's the distinction. In most cases, a want is a thought. A desire is a feeling. Big difference.
Interesting.
Big difference. A desire is a feeling that comes from within you. You can't really put words on it. You just kind of know without knowing how you know.
Right.
You know? And so, interestingly enough, if you look at, I think about Martin Luther King. He had a vision. He said, I have a dream. Okay? So I asked myself a lot, well, where did that dream come from? How did this guy have the audacity to believe that he could change the world the way that he did? Where did that come from? I believe it came from source. Now, obviously, he was a very religious man, but I don't think it has anything to do with religion. I believe it had everything to do with his divine purpose.
Yeah.
Source gave him the idea to do that. He listened. He started following that desire. He had the discipline to go through all of the stuff that he went through and said, look, this is my dream. And then he enrolled people into that dream. But once again, it's the same process for regular folks. Source gives us a desire. It's a feel. It's just an inner knowing. For example, I know a lot of people that love music, right? And so they have this gift of writing music or making music or whatever. And I love music. I'm a former DJ. Just love music. And as I listen to music, and most people, when they write music, they're speaking from their hearts.
True.
Be it joy or pain or whatever, it's a feeling that they're able to express through their music. But I say it comes from that desire, which is from the heart, which is the source of all desire.
Damn, bro. So with everything that I'm hearing from what you're saying, especially like coming to the topic of the discipline and rigor, what I'm hearing is like when a person is on that level of being in desire, in the feel of this vision, it seems like the discipline and rigor will automatically be there. It may look different in ways because the outcome may be different than what it still may get to the vision, yet the outcome or getting there may look completely different than what I thought it would look like. Again, the thought.
It always will look different.
Rather than feel. Yeah, I mean, like, it's very interesting because like, so tonight I finished, like, before I came on, like, I finished, today was the last session of the audiobook for Heal Thy Man Method, right? And I did some extra stories in there, and it's very interesting because, like, when it was done, like, it's still got to get uploaded to Amazon, but when I said the last words, and the dude that's producing was like, "Yo, man, you good, bro? We're done." I had this feeling of like, this was nothing like I expected. Yet this is the feeling that I knew I was going to have when I finished this. It was freaking funky, coach. I was like, this feels good, and almost like I didn't expect it to go anything like this. And here we are, right? And listen, it wasn't the most fun to travel an hour and a half into Brooklyn to like sit in a recording studio at the end of a long freaking day, and then like it just no, I didn't want to go. Like today, even today, it was raining outside. It's Sunday. I'm like, yo, man, who's playing on the tube? I just wanted to stay home, man. Yeah, I knew like this was the last recording. This was and talk about the divine. This was a desire I had to get to, like the book. Writing the book was important, and reading the book in my voice was also important. Because for the people that are like, hey, I don't feel like reading, guess what? Plug it into your car stereo, and you can hear it. Right? So, and this is coming from a divine source. So I'm hearing everything. I'm hearing what you're saying, and it's making sense. I think like and what I want to entertain here, and I think this could be something, because I know like if you're watching this on the replay, you know, first of all, if you're watching up to this point, hit the like button. And then also type in, do hashtag replay, and talk to us about what's your vision. Like you see it up here on the screen. What is your vision? Like what's that thing that you're so passionate about, or that thing that you're called to do? What is it? Because if you're struggling, and here's the thing, coach, this is where I was like, I wanted to go with this. If someone's struggling with discipline, they have yet to connect to the why and what that desire is. Mm-hmm. They have yet to connect. And it's interesting, right? Because this, as I'm talking about this comes into a situation I had with a client yesterday, where it's like I'm doing my best to get him into working out on his own, and specifically like, yo, get your ass on the treadmill and start walking. I at least want you to walk 5 minutes a day. Just get yourself into the thing, into the mode. So what I did yesterday, like when I was when I was checking in with them, I was like, hey, what's your reason to get in better shape? I don't know. And there it was. So if I have no idea what is the reason I'm doing something, best freaking believe it's going to be extremely difficult for you to be disciplined in this task. Extremely disciplined. It's going to be extremely difficult. So figure out, like, if discipline is, you're struggling with discipline and carrying out any tasks, find your why. Get to your vision. Simple.
Yeah, and here's a really simple exercise, Paul.
I'm with it, and then we'll wrap up.
So as you're watching this, I want you to get a piece of paper. Simple exercise. Get a piece of paper. And at the top of the page, I want you to write, I want. Okay? Top of the page. And then for 30 seconds, I want you to write down whatever comes to mind. Whatever comes to mind. I want. Okay? Put that at the top of the page. And just don't think too much about it. But just, I want a relationship. I want more money. I want whatever. But for 30 seconds, just write down whatever comes to mind. Just want. Because in doing this, what you can do is you can activate. You can activate what your heart desire might be. Because it's going to start with a want. But you have to be disciplined. You have to be able to put the pen to paper. It's amazing to me how, especially in America, we live in possibly the wealthiest country in the world, right? And yet, why is it that so few people have lives that we might call extraordinary. And two things: lack of vision, lack of discipline.
Yeah.
Because either you have what you want in life or you have a story about why you don't.
Ooh! Say it again, coach. Hit him with that again.
Either you have what you want in life or you have a story about why you don't. So put it in the context of what we're doing here with Black men. Your story could be racism, discrimination, I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't have enough education, my parents did this, my ex-wife. They're all stories. So you have to figure out what it is that you truly want. And then once you figure that out, you go a little deeper, you can get to the desire. But again, it takes rigor and discipline to do this. That's why so few people live the lives that they're capable of. But that's why this conversation is so important, because we have to change. And I talked about this at the beginning. As Black men, we have to change what's happening in here.
Yes, sir.
Change the inner narrative about what's possible. And I will admit and tell you firsthand, it is challenging for us as Black men because we've got so many things coming at us. We've got race on this side. We've got our own people telling us what we can't do. We've got, there's this victim narrative that's promoted. So it's not easy, but it's doable. It's doable. And now, especially now, see, because it is my belief, Paul, my belief, there's never been a better time to be alive on the planet than right now. Mm-hmm. I believe that wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. Despite what you see in mainstream media, especially as Black men. Yes. Because we are thriving. Mm-hmm. But the media's focus is going to be on how many men are incarcerated, Black on Black crime. You're going to hear all this in the media. But what you don't see is conversations like this. Yeah. Right? That's why BKC is so important. That's why the Brotherhood of Kings is so important, because it's giving you an opportunity to change your inner narrative about who you are and what's possible for you.
Damn, coach, damn. Coach, you drop the mic on us, bro. You dropped the mic. Bless up, man. Bless up, man. Dude, thank you, coach. Hear what my guy's saying. Hear what my guy's saying here, because don't believe the hype of the negative media. Thank you, coach. Thank you for that. Listen, I told you, man, Coach Michael Happy Ass Taylor is fitting. That's his name. Okay. And coach, you are inspiration, man, because I really appreciate it. I'm happy that I brought this conversation up, and I'm happy it was me and you discussing it. Listen, you're watching this, share this with another man of color, share this with another man, because discipline and rigor are sacred masculine principles and characteristics, traits. And what I appreciate is the desire is also weaving itself into the divine feminine. So it's how the divine feminine and divine masculine work together. The divine feminine is the visionary, the connection to source, right? Now the divine masculine gets to go out and act. This is a perfect way that these two are in symphony, in collaboration with each other. So take heed. Listen to this. Go grab a notepad. Right at the top, I want. Okay, 30 seconds, like Coach said. Free of judgment. Write down whatever comes up and hook it up. All right. And listen, this is the BKC crew, man. There'll be other facilitators that come on, and every Sunday night we want to have these conversations. So you can go back to previous Sunday nights, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you get notices when we have other lives coming up. I just want to highlight a couple other things here before we wrap up. And let me show you what we're going to do. Oh, wait, hold on. Is that it? Yep. So, party people, here's the scoop. All right. Every Saturday, I'm going to make this bigger. Okay. Every Saturday, we have, hold on. Oh, yep, there we go. Every Saturday, we have the BKC call. It's Saturdays, 12 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Great conversations. This is a space. If you're a man of color, this is a space for you to be heard, to be seen, to learn, to grow based on who you are. You're never going to hear anybody in the BKC tell you what to damn well do. We are going to encourage you to find your unique path, and you will be supported by the other men in the circle. Another thing that we have is on Wednesdays. This is a new one here. This is Wisdom Wednesdays, where we're going into topics to really get wisdom from every man in the group. Regardless of your age, best believe you've got wisdom. And in the BKC, we want to make sure that you feel empowered to speak your truth on a regular. Okay. So you not only are you doing it in the circle, you're also practicing that by doing it in the circle, that you can practice doing that and extending your wisdom and sharing your wisdom and living in your wisdom outside of this space. Also, as we talked about before, check out last week's live where we talked about attachments and conflicts. These videos are all out here for you. We are here for you. We are here with you. Tell a friend. I'm going to stop the share here. And listen, remember, we are at thebrotherhoodofkings.com. All right. Make sure you check out our website, www.brotherhoodofkings.com. You'll get a link to Saturday's call. You can also, if you have yet to get on the BKC newsletter, get on it. It comes out at the end of every week. Thank you. Comes out the end of every week. And there's great tips and stuff that's on here. This past weekend, we even talked about, hey, especially going into the new year, times are getting tough out here with inflation. Coach talked about being an entrepreneur. Hey, maybe you want to kick off a business. Business looks like a lot of different things, online business, whatever. But there's a lot of things that we have in the newsletter that are designed for you, that are designed to help you. So thank you, everyone, for watching on the replay. Thank you, everyone that tapped in on this. Facebook, bless up. Welcome. We're here now every Sunday. YouTube, bless up. You know we've been here every Sunday. Who you with? Coach, any last words before we wrap up?
Yeah, so as you're watching this, here's the thing you have to remember. You can't do it by yourself. And that's the challenge we have, especially as Black men, trying to do it alone. Find a network, find a group of like-minded men to support you along this journey, because you can never do it by yourself.
I say, bless up. Bless up, everybody. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you so much. Blessings to everyone, and we'll see you next week. Peace. Tap into the BKC on Wednesdays and Saturdays too, and on the website. Peace, everybody.